Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, and I am a weight loss coach who has lost 100 pounds and am living my life in maintenance 4 years later.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 75 pounds and continuing my journey to lose 100 more.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes. And this week, this podcast is for all of those who at some point did good all week and got on the scale and we didn't lose anything. And then we were like, what the heck? What's the point?
Why are we doing all this work? And I
Yeah.
know, I know in my journey to losing weight, and I know in my journey in life and maintenance, I still have those thoughts. And I had those thoughts. Like, if I'm doing everything that I am to be good, right? Then I should be rewarded with a different number on the scale that shows that I'm doing something. And as I said that, I just thought to myself, well, what other things that when I think I do good, do I get a pat on the back, which is so funny because something that we have talked about before.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes we do really good things and the scale just doesn't reflect the data that we think that it should be reflecting. But I think what is so important is what we do with that after. Like, we can get on the scale after having a week that we showed up for ourselves and the scale doesn't move, but how do we allow that to move us forward? Like, is it going to have us go into, this isn't even worth it? I'm doing all this and I'm not losing weight. So just throw in the towel and eat all the things. Or does it have us look at ways we could change that outcome? And I think how we decide to move forward from that is where the success is. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And I also think what I have learned, so there's lots of different avenues to this, right? But one big thing that I have learned with this is 1 week in a sea of years, right? Your life is much longer than a week. Your efforts are going to take more than a week to show. And your body doesn't know that, oh, it's been 7 days. It's 7 days, Friday morning, 8 o'clock. I'm supposed to show this person that they've lost weight this week. Like it doesn't work that way, right? And it is the power of consistency. So I have started to really look at a month as a whole as a data point for myself in terms of weight loss, because of course that is a goal and we do want to see it. And there are so many other factors to acknowledge. It could be inches, it could be clothes are fitting like is, looser. There's so many other ways. But when you are talking about the scale specifically and you do want to see that number, you also want to think what's a realistic expectation? Okay, so if my realistic expectation for this month is I want to lose 5 pounds, that's my goal. Let's just say that's my goal. There's 4 weeks. Okay. So averaging about a pound or so, whatever, a week. If I don't necessarily lose on week one, but on week three, the scale shows 3 pounds at that time, right? So take a beginning weight at the beginning of the month and take the weight at the end of the month. You can weigh in every week. That's fine. But for data purposes and to see what you have done, a whole 4 weeks is a much more realistic showing of what you've done because anything could play a part. The night before, did you go out and have a high salt dinner out? Did you have Chinese? Did you drink more water at night before you went to bed? There's so many things. If you're a woman, hormonally, is it that time of the month? Like, is something going on? There's so many other factors that will play into the scale number. And when we see it and we feel like, oh, I've done all the 10 things I need to do this week, why didn't it show me something? Because it's not quite there yet, and that's okay, but keep going with those 10 things that you're doing, keep consistency with it, And if you really are truly consistent with that, the weight will come off with some time. And
Mhm.
everybody also loses differently. Some people do lose every week. Some people will not lose, and then lose a chunk of weight, like I said, the 3 pounds, or everybody's body is so different. And it also leads us into the world of what we talked about on a previous podcast of comparison,
Mm.
comparing. Just because somebody else loses 3 pounds does not mean you're going to lose 3 pounds that week. And that's okay. On average, anywhere you look, any study you read, the safest way to lose fat, not muscle, is an average of 1 to 2 pounds a week. So if you're averaging that over the course of months, then you're doing a great job,
Yeah,
right?
and we think about like when we do compare and we see people who are losing more than we are, again, we don't know what they are doing to
Mhm.
lose that weight. We don't know how much weight they have to lose. And like we don't know the circumstances. We're comparing what we think they're doing. And you mentioned that the average is 1 to 2 pounds a week to lose, to maintain, and to have the most success, right?
Mhm.
What if you got frustrated after that scale doesn't spit out the number you want after you were good and or good and I keep doing, if you're listening to
Air
the
quotes.
podcast, you can't see it. I'm doing air quotes because like we're not good or bad in our journey to weight loss. We are just doing the work and we are continuing to learn and we are continuing to move forward. So we may show up with the habits we want to create better one week than we do another week, but it's not, doesn't create a bad week or a good week. It's just how we showed up. But I think that if we allow the thoughts to take over that the scale did not pump out what we wanted it to pump out, that we will miss out on the weeks that we could be losing a pound or two because we got into that funk. So it's going to take us even longer. So sometimes we don't lose in a week, no matter how fabulously we showed up for those new habits that we're creating. Sometimes we have a weight dump, and the next week it might be 2 to 3 pounds. It's our bodies are so different every minute, every moment, every hour, every day. And I think that that is so important for us to remember as we go through our weight loss journeys.
I agree with all of that. I also wanted to talk about habit tracking, and I know I do that. I don't know if you did that, Debbie, through your journey, but in terms of keeping track of, like, let's say, okay, this week I want to really focus on getting 80 ounces of water in, right? So write it on a piece of paper, 80 ounces of water Monday through Sunday or whatever. There's plenty of them online too, free PDFs, all the places. I just printed one myself today. And you can get them for a week at a time, you can get them for a month at a time, whatever works best for you. I'm working on just doing a week at a time, so I don't look too far ahead at my
Yep.
stuff. But, so if you track, okay, so 80 ounces of water, I got it 5 out of 7 days. Then you have a number. Okay, so what day did I struggle to hit the 80? Why did I struggle? Where can I work on that? Now you're dissecting what's going on and trying to find ways to achieve the goal that you have on the days that you didn't hit it, but there's no good or bad. It's
Mm.
just information. It's just telling you where you might want to focus energy a little bit more this week. Like Saturday, I know for me, talking about water, weekends are trickier for me. I'm not sitting at a desk. So I'm on the move. I'm not thinking about it. It's not like in my peripheral all the time. So that's where I have to focus on it a little bit more. So I have to think about, like, okay, how can I get it to be easier for me on the weekends to drink more water? But I'm not saying I didn't do a good job on Saturday, Sunday because I didn't drink water. It's just, okay, those were the days I didn't hit it. How can I hit it? So neutralizing it, not making it good or bad is really, really important to staying consistent with a habit that you want to create. And there was a challenge I gave myself a couple years ago where I wanted to wake up and walk before work Monday through Friday. That was a goal that I did. Some people who are listening might know about it.
I
But
love
so I would always do a post in a group I was in. It was called Wake Up and Walk. And it was Monday through Friday because that was my personal goal that I wanted to do before work. So there were days I did not do it. There were days in a row I didn't do it. But over the course of the whole year, when I counted out my days versus the days I didn't do it versus the days I did do it, I think there was only like 20 something days I missed for the year. But if I would have got stuck in that week, oh, I just didn't do it for 2 days. So I'm not doing a good job. I wouldn't have kept going. I didn't pay attention to that. I just, okay, I didn't do it yesterday. I'm going to get up and do it today. So not attaching the judgment, I think, is such a huge thing for us to all work on.
it is, and the habit tracker is such whatever you use to track your habit, like you said, there's so many choices out there.
There's digital too.
And I love how you give the example that weekends are a more challenging time for you because life is active and your water bottle is not right there. And when you go back and look at that habit tracker for your water, and I'm not saying you specifically, but when we go back and look at our habit trackers of what we've done, like if I got my water in 5 days, but didn't do it for 2 days, our brains are so used to going to that's failing, that's failing, that's failing. But we all went to school, right? We all know what was considered a failing grade. And and you can't fail at weight loss. I think the only way that you can fail at weight loss is if you want to lose weight and you stop trying, because that's quitting and that so you've just stopped. So that is the but if you are continuing moving forward, even if it is dipping your little toe into the pool to do it, you haven't failed and you are keeping moving forward. And 5 days of getting your water in is worth celebrating instead of focusing on the 2 days or whatever habit it is you are trying to build. Don't take away the joy of the five because of the two, right?
Mm,
Like it is,
yes, I love that you said that. You're
it,
right. You have to celebrate as well. Yep,
you have to.
absolutely. Mhm.
But it's your like, you are amazing in what you're doing, and I was using your water as an example, but not but what you're doing is like, what you mentioned that you do is exactly what we all need to do, and especially now for me, because I have really not been on the water train, which I really should be, with heat, but let's can never lose sight of what we are doing well and what we are doing to learn from the areas that we need to improve on, or not need to improve, we want to improve. Because remember, nobody is forcing us to
Mhm.
lose weight or to live in maintenance. This is a choice that we are doing for ourselves. So, trying to find ways to make it work for our individual journeys is so important.
Absolutely. And yes, the celebrating and the looking at and dissecting what you want to work on is so both of those are key parts of it. And so I kind of got away from my walking before work with winter in on the East Coast. It gets very dark, it gets very cold. I'm not a fan of that. So I kind of let it slip and I didn't pursue working out as much indoors. So that was something that bothered me. And now that it's getting nicer out again, I was like, okay, I want to kick this into gear and I'm going to start thinking about what I can do for winter this upcoming season. But so this week, my goal was to get back to walking before work Monday through Friday. So I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I woke up and I just did not feel well. I was tired, my body was tired, and I didn't get up and do it. And there was a thought when I was like in the midst of my Thursday at work, I was like, I guess I should have maybe pushed through. And I was like, you know what? I was really tired and I needed to rest for work. And I came to terms with being okay with that decision. And then Friday, I got up. Today I got up and I did it before work. But if I would have gotten so sucked into that one day that I didn't get up, then I wouldn't have gotten up today. I would have kept the cycle going. And well, I can't. stay consistent. But being consistent is pushing through the days that you didn't do something and just show up again, right? The resiliency of like, okay, Thursday I didn't do it. I wasn't feeling well. Tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do to make sure I'm going to go to bed a little earlier and get the rest I need so I can get up on Friday. So now I have 4 out of 5 days that I did do it. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm celebrating. And I looked at now, there was reasons why I didn't feel well, and it was a justified day for missing. But these are things you have to really talk to yourself about when you hear that voice, like it came in later, like, "Oh, maybe I should have got up." And I was like, well, I needed that rest. My body needed that rest. There's going to be another day. That one day that I missed is okay. Because the other 4 days I showed up and I got out of bed and I did it.
And you got
And I
out,
still, Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I still showed up by staying in bed to get the rest that I needed. So, like, you have to look at the positive in the choices that you make as well. And every day they're going to look a little different. Um, and you have to keep going. That's the key to it. Just keep going. So, like, if you have a week where you feel like you did all 10, I don't know how many things you're looking for, but let's say there's 10 things that you wanted to achieve, you achieve them, and the scale did not show up, that's okay. Write down those 10 things that you did. See it as a visual, or tell a friend, or tell your whoever you want to tell. Make sure you celebrate the 10 things you think you did right. Keep doing them. And then after a whole of a month, assess. Now, if you're still did not lose at the end of the month, then yes, you might want to look and think, okay, is there something else I might need to look at? Something else I might need to tweak? You would want to assess that at that point. But I do have a hard time thinking like if you're really making efforts and doing the work that you want to do, that in a month that you wouldn't have a weight loss of some kind.
Yeah, and then you would also have the habit tracker to look at to show where, like you said, where you have and where you can level up. And I love your example and your true life story about the waking up and walking, because you could have laid in bed yesterday and said, I need to walk, and you could have got out of bed and you could have gone out and did the work. But I also think it's so important for us to remember when we do things because we feel we have to, and that it's an obligation, not for everybody, but for me, I know that it kind of steals the joy out of it. Like it takes the fun, yeah, I'm gonna say the fun away from it, right? And for you, your body needed to be taken care of in a different way yesterday. And I think giving ourselves permission to hear that need is it's such a beautiful gift. I mean, we were talking earlier. I think you are so in tune with what you need. Um, I admire that about you, but so many people don't take that time and just say, today my body needs to rest and it's okay. And I can show up tomorrow and walk.
Yes. And I think it's you want to look at yourself and really be honest. So this is also part of just honesty with yourself because there are days where you might make excuses and whatever. Like there was one day, so I have an accountability partner and we're texting if we've woken up and doing our walk or not, and this person didn't feel well and they weren't going to go for their walk. And immediately my brain dished up, yeah, I don't really feel that great either. Maybe I'll just skip it. Like it was just such an automatic thought that came to my brain. I was like, wait a minute, you feel fine. So, so I got out of bed and I went for my walk like I wanted to. But that was a moment where an excuse was just coming in, right? And I had to question it. But on Thursday, I genuinely didn't feel good. TMI, it was just a hormonal thing I found out later, so all is good, but I wasn't sick, but my body was tired. Now, if I would have pushed and gotten up, who's to say my workday wouldn't have been more difficult for me because I didn't get the rest I needed. So you have to look at your body as a whole and everything it needs. It needs rest, it needs water, it needs movement, it needs all these things. And movement can look different for everybody. So there's no like one way to do movement. I think when it comes to movement and diet or whatever you choose to follow, it's so easy to say, well, this person's lifting weights and running marathons and doing all these things. And you think that's the only way to really be movement, and it's not true, right?
Mhm.
So you have to feel what your body needs and what you can do and what feels good to you and what is fun. Like I think Debbie makes a great point. You want to do stuff that makes you feel good, which is why I tend to struggle in the winter because I love going outside walking. I love being out in the air and being indoors for months on end makes me a little sad.
And that's why you should come out here to Arizona with me.
Yeah,
I
we'll
I will say
visit.
my friends in New Hampshire have told me that it's snowing this weekend, in the forecast, so
Oh no.
yeah, but winter does, it impacts so much, so it's fine depending on where you live, so it is finding the other things that you can do, and I love that you are already planning, like, you do not wanna go through this time of habit building to not habit building because 'cause you've been doing it, but do you know what I mean? Like, to have it change in the winter, and I think that that is what is so important about when the scale and the data doesn't move, and, like, you didn't do like, we could say the 4 days that 3 days that you walked and then you didn't. If that was, say, somebody's weigh-in day and the scale didn't move, like, you had that decision with the walk yesterday, and you got up and continued, and you will continue through, and that's when the scale doesn't move, the thought really has to be, celebrate what you did well this week before you got on the scale,
Mhm.
and don't let it take away how all that you did that built those habits, and which is exactly what I was getting at with your walking, is that you didn't let it derail you, it just was a day that you didn't walk. Today you
Well,
did.
yeah, and I think too, you brought the winter thing up again too. I didn't do a lot of movement before work during the winter. So winter here's I don't know, 4 or 5 months. So now I'm trying to get back into it, and I know people often ask like, "How do you get restarted?" And that's the thing, like you just do. Like I just said, "Okay, tomorrow morning I'm getting up." I just told myself that, and when the alarm went off, I got up and you just have that conversation with yourself. But then I debated the other day but you have to really have the conversation. You have to form a relationship with yourself that when you hear the thought, I just want to stay in bed because it's so cozy, which I hear often. Okay, but am I willing to get up anyway? Yes, I am, because I'm going to feel better after I do my walk. And so winter, that's a whole nother conversation. I have a lot of things that I'm going to try to work on for winter, but for right now, I'm thinking of that, and I'm also working on the walking. And um, with the scale, it's such an interesting thing because at this point, and I know Debbie, you mentioned last week that you think you've gained weight through this move, and I have gained weight from since the holidays and stuff. So I've gained a little bit back as well. And now I'm like, okay, this has happened. My mom, Mother's Day came. I've talked about before, I lost my mom in 2020, and I'm still learning how to kind of process and navigate that with, anniversaries and Mother's Day and stuff. And so the anniversary of her passing is this month as well. And I'm giving myself grace to just navigate this month the best I can. And then in June, I have plans that I'm lining up, that I'm getting into place. And I was working, and I've talked about this before in other podcasts that I was working with a coach, and we were working on just maintaining my weight. So that kind of played into effect as well. And now I'm moving into weight loss mode again, starting in June. So I think I'll have to get the numbers and I can update next podcast if people are interested. But I'm not at the 75 mark any longer, but I think it's 66, 60. I'm not sure. I have to check. But regardless, I could get so worked up about whatever weight I did put back on and that I hadn't been walking through the winter and all of these things. But focusing my energy there does not move me forward. It's not going to get me anywhere. And regardless of what I've gained, what I've done, and what I've not done, I'm still me. I'm still, the friends and daughter and wife and all of these things. So I really am learning to not. make myself feel like I'm a bad person because of it. I just had a struggle and that's how I handled it. And now I'm ready to sit down and look at the steps that I'm going to take to move forward. So that's, I think, our big key message. Regardless of what a scale dishes out or what habit that you think you didn't do, you are still showing up because you're trying and you're working at it and you're figuring it out. So if you didn't do a habit all the days you wanted to for the 7 days, don't make it a personal attack on yourself. Just say, okay, why did I struggle? Ask yourself a question, have a conversation. Why did I struggle on those particular days? That's the habit tracker. There's apps, there's paper, there's all kinds of ways to track it. But I do think it's very, very key because we ourselves will, one, maybe overthink that we did really well when we might not have done it every day. Or we might be thinking, I really didn't do a good job. But if you look at it, you really did. Like, sometimes you'll think, "Oh, I barely did it." And then if you look at it like, "Oh, I did it 4 out of 5 days. That's pretty good, actually. What did happen on that day?" So, writing it down and keeping a check mark list is really accurate information to go
Mhm.
by, more than just our memory of how the week went.
Yeah, because our memories are so the memories, wanna remember what we wanna remember. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that you are up on the scale, and
Mhm.
I will mention that I haven't weighed myself since the end of April, and I have been eating, um, with abandonment. Is not what do I wanna say? I wanna say some adjectives that are just not needed. I have been eating more than my body needs. That is the bottom line,
Yeah.
and because I have been eating past full, and my body doesn't like to be overfilled. So, I am up. We haven't unpacked the scales yet. I'm thinking we're gonna find those today, and you know what? I'm gonna post in our Facebook page what I weigh in at tomorrow, and when you were talking about your gain, you did not mention once that you failed. You did not mention anything negative about yourself. You just mentioned that you made different choices this month for reasons that were part of your life. And I think that though that attitude, um, may not be easy for everybody to embrace, it's really how for successful weight loss, we need to think. Like, it was a gain. We You and I both have had gains. We are both up on the scale, but neither one of us is saying that we're failing. We're coming on here and we're telling you, we've gained weight, but we're still here and we know that it is temporary and we know what we need to do. And it isn't failing, it's just getting back into our normal habits. And I think if we all continue to remember that, and I love what you said about the habit tracker because we do forget how successful we've been. And that habit tracker is right there to show us and remind us of what we've done and where we can level up or where we don't need to. So um here we are both on here talking to you about weight loss. Both have had a little bit of a up on the scale, but we're going to just keep on going.
Yeah, and it goes to what you said about the only time you would really necessarily fail is if you quit. Like, of course, I'm disappointed. I'm not thrilled that I have to, say that I've gained or even show that to myself, but I also am, and I've worked on this through thought work and coaching that I've gone through, and compassion through something for me and my personality, and I think for a lot of us, compassion's gonna get you a lot further than a beat up, and to know that, yes, this is a difficult emotional time for me, and of course, I'm still sometimes going back to a habit that I've had for 40 plus years, and I've acknowledged that. And I also acknowledge, and this is something we talk about too, if you're struggling, especially if you are having a difficult time with a big trauma situation or a loss, a grief of a loved one or something, reach out for help. So, I've thought about it and Kevin pointed out, like, maybe it's time to talk to somebody. And I thought, okay, maybe it is. So I've reached out and I'm working on talking with a professional about the loss of my mom. And there's never anything wrong with reaching out, whether it's a coach, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a friend, journal, whatever you need. If you are acknowledging that you're having a difficult time and you're noticing that habits come back, a coping mechanism that you prefer not to have, and you need help in finding a way to create a new tool for yourself, then absolutely reach out for help. And that's part of where weight loss coaches can come in, or therapist, or whatever works for you. But sometimes, even though you think, and I know this was for me, I'm like, well, I know what to do and I know what I should be thinking. But you sometimes, and most of us do better when we talk to someone and they're able to show their perspective and take you out of yourself for a minute and help you
Mm.
find a tool and create something that will help you. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Like, never be afraid to reach out for help in any kind of way, whether it's emailing. You could email us, we could talk about
Yeah.
it. Like, there's so many avenues that are out there for everybody.
Yeah, and it's just the willingness to ask and the willingness to know when we need that help
Mhm.
and when it's tough and know it's okay. That help is help and people are always there to help. So just gotta ask. Well, I think we can all have a week that we develop new habits, that we continue with habits we've been working on. And no matter what the scale is, we can take time to recognize what we have done, the habits that we have created and followed through with that we're proud of, no matter the number on the scale.
Absolutely. Mhm.
So today I'm going to tell you keep blooming, keep doing the things that make you happy and make you feel your best so you grow and shine.
Yes. And as always, wake up willing to do something that feels good to you.
And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.